So okay, I get called to the school counselor, and I don't know what's about to happen at all. And then I get in there, and you and mom are there, and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, what's happening? What's going on here? Am I in trouble? And then all I remember is Georgianne sitting me down and telling me that I had been abused, that it wasn't right. It's not something that what I went through wasn't right and wasn't normal, and that if I didn't do something about it, that I was going to abuse my kids.
And your reaction was, I'm not abused.
Oh, really? I
Yes,
denied it again.
you denied it again.
Okay. And
It,
man, I remember that year. I think I was about 12. I was 11 or 12, going on 12, right? And starting to enter puberty. So I'm going through changes already, hormonally, starting to like girls. I remember the first girl. I won't even name her name because she's a friend of mine on Facebook still. It was a Hoopa girl. Uh,
Small town, everybody
yeah,
knows
everybody
everybody.
knows everyone. Yeah. Uh, and I remember I saw her face and I was like, holy shit, she's beautiful. I remember the first time I ever like felt that attraction to someone, and I was about 12, 13, but it was that year of ignoring. I remember just wanting his attention,
Yeah,
any attention.
I remember I almost missed being beaten.
Yeah, I know. And so because of that, I think we're so used to that chaos. So I started turning into a drug user and shit pretty quickly. But that's jumping ahead a little bit, not too far. But then, okay, so here's what I remember. School counselor, Georgianne Kisei, R.I.P. Georgianne.
Yes.
Yeah, she was, for me, the first counselor I ever saw. And I felt like it was an ambush, right? Because weren't you and mom waiting in the office?
We were.
Fuck. So then you'll probably remember my reaction better than I will because it gets fuzzy after I hear all this. So I don't know if I do remember hearing about the child abuse prevention program, maybe being a part of it. I ignored it because I don't remember any of it, and I was kind of, maybe I was doing a grandma, and just kind of had to just deny it,
Right.
you know. Um, uh, but I wasn't allowed to for anymore after this event. So uh, I was called into the office.
You were called into the office because we were worried about you.
Why were you worried about me?
Because you were acting out and stuff. You were, I don't know if you were starting to do drugs or anything at the time or whatever, but I had continued on with counseling. I had been seeing Georgianne and everything, and started working on reconciling myself with what had happened to
Oh,
us and
wow.
whatever. And
That's neat.
and so Georgianne thought it would be good to have us all talk about it, the three of us, where we'd all be safe because it's just the three of us, and maybe get to the bottom of some of your angst or whatever.
Because I'd been hitting you a bit too, right? I remember um,
Yeah.
there's you could probably talk about it, but you want to talk about before we get to the counselor part of the story where I remember it being one of the maybe the second to the last time that I hit you until you were a freshman, um, where you got me back with your My Little Ponies.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about that real
Well,
quick?
I mean, cause so
I'm
like
laughing because it's
it,
nerve wracking.
yeah,
Yeah,
mom
yeah.
would walk by and she'd hear like it was Christmas time, and you shoved me down onto the ground, Merry Christmas, bitch, and yeah,
Wow.
and just shit like that all the time, after dad stopped abusing us, you kind of picked up the ball a little bit,
Okay.
which is normal in that situation. But yeah, you fucked with me quite a bit for a little while there, and you fucking like hit me or something one time, And I was like, how dare you? I was like, just like, you of all people, fuck
I'm
no,
supposed to
you know.
protect you and all that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I grabbed My Little Pony by the tail and I fucking just
Whacked
wonked
me.
you across the fucking face with
Good.
it.
That part is funny. Yeah, I'm
And
so glad.
and you didn't touch me like that again.
Yeah, until you were a freshman.
And well, that's when you were more heavier into some
Yeah,
drugs and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we had our little tiffs, and maybe I would
Every,
have been beating me up too if I was singing "The Hills Are Alive" with the Sound of Music
oh,
all the
that's
time to you.
yeah, right, yeah. And I know The Sound of Music is a great story.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is about the Von Trapp family during the Nazi occupation. Yeah. So okay, I get called to the school counselor, and I don't know what's about to happen at all. And I get in there, and you and Mom are there, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? What's going on here? Am I in trouble? And then all I remember is Georgianne sitting me down and telling me that I had been abused, that it wasn't right. It's not something that what I went through wasn't right and wasn't normal, and that if I didn't do something about it, that I was going to abuse my kids.
And your reaction was, "I'm not abused."
Oh, really?
Yes,
I denied it again.
you denied it again.
Okay. I remember getting very angry and
You
leaving.
were and you left.
Yeah. I don't,
And then we were just like, whoa. And she was like, he's not ready.
yeah. I wasn't. But I heard her, and I knew she was right. So I wasn't ready to talk about it. I wasn't ready to dive into it or to acknowledge it at the time outwardly, but it really reached me in that moment.
I'm
Yeah,
glad. I think
yeah.
Mom kind of felt like guilty or something, like
No,
maybe
I
I
did feel
should.
like I got ambushed though, and
Right.
but like, how else was it supposed to happen? It was kind of like an intervention that needed to happen, and I get it now. Like I can look back on that 12-year-old me, and I give him love, and I can say it's okay, you know. But I remember that distinctly until the point where I left, and I don't remember saying I'm not abused. That's interesting. So I got another little piece of that story, and yeah. But when I look back on that event, that to me is the first time that I learned that was real. Because obviously, like when we were real young and we are gonna kill Dad, and we hatched this plan. We obviously knew something bad was happening.
Yep.
We obviously knew something wasn't right.
Well, we knew that we were gonna die. That's
Yeah,
what we knew.
yeah. So when we didn't want to die, so we knew all that. Like instinct is instinct, and then this, and that was my first like time my paradigm just got shattered, and that's what happened in that moment to me. My whole paradigm was just psh, I couldn't deny it anymore, and I went worse.
You did go worse.
It didn't help me.
It did not.
It did in the long run, right? But not in that moment. I mean, what else could you do though?
Didn't know what to do. We were
Right.
treading like new waters.
I was already being violent to you. I was being like acting up in school or whatever, getting in fights maybe. That, I got in a lot of fights at school. Lost most of them.
Your grades went down.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was my first kind of paradigm shift of like, oh yeah, we put words to it.
Right.
We had wording for it. We've identified the problem, and I wasn't hearing it. So, yeah. And then I was probably, I think at that time I was 12. Was that 5th grade?
5th grade was Mrs. Hanger, wasn't it?
7th grade was Mrs. Hanger.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm the only guy to get straight A's in that class. So I kind of came back up on an upswing a little bit. So maybe it did help a little bit. And Because I know 5th grade I was having problems with Mr. Goodwin's class,
Yes.
right? So I think in 5th grade, you're 6th grade, 13, 14. So maybe I was like 13 in Mr. Goodwin's class. So that's when the abuse stopped, was when I was like 13. And then by the time I got into 8th grade, that's when I started using, I started smoking pot and smoking cigarettes at the age of 12, pretty much immediately when Dad,
Yep.
and I remember when you caught me smoking behind the tree and you were like, if you don't give me a cigarette, I'm going to tell Dad that you're smoking. And then I had to give you a cigarette or a drag of my cigarette. So you were 9.
And a half.
So
That's
little
why
kids smoking cigarettes, that's where, so if anything's a gateway drug, trauma is the gateway drug.
I
Right?
think you're right.
Yeah. But so that's when you started smoking. I remember getting high from cigarettes for at least 2 weeks, and I remember Mom saying something to the effect of like, "Hey, you don't quit now, it's going to get harder if you keep going." She was more understanding about it than
Oh, yeah.
Dad was. Yeah.
The wind blowing away the butts.
Yeah. Oh, the wind.
The wind might blow this way.
Yeah. Trying to give us a little freedom, right? Yeah. And then so I started using pot. I remember the first time I ever smoked pot, someone gave me stems and leaves in a bag for me doing their math homework. And I went into the bathroom, got the classic like Pepsi can,
Oh, yes.
right? And went into the boys' room and smoked some of it. Thought I was high, I wasn't really, and then came out and played basketball and was like, "Wee!" Yeah, I don't know. I did a lot of can smoking back in those
Oh,
days.
yeah.
Yeah. Then I got into cross tops around 8th grade. Remember the first time I took that and it made me feel good. Oh, ooh, right. And then by the time I was 14, started using methamphetamines. Hi, this is James. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube right now, do me a huge favor and give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to whatever platform you listen to podcasts on, you could rate it, you could review it, you could share it with a friend as well. That would help me out a lot. Either way, thank you very much. Right. And I did that throughout my whole high school career, methamphetamines and pot mainly, and of course a little bit of drinking. I never wanted to drink because I didn't know our dad had done methamphetamines. I just saw the drinking and the pot smoking.
No, he was on anything I think he could get his hands on.
Yeah, and that was, I think, true even before he moved to Hoopa. As he would say, like when I was born, he was out getting high on horse tranquilizers.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's the story that he told me about. Well, and back in those days, dudes weren't expected to be in the delivery room. They were expected to not be there.
That's true.
Right? So, yeah, what else are you going to do? Mom, having a boy. Like,
Well, generally, people will have a cigar.
yeah, I guess so. I'm like, what else is he supposed to do? Oh, there you go. You are more mature than I am. Yeah.
Thank you for admitting it.
Yeah. On camera, on this podcast, she's got it. My older sister, everyone.
No.
No, yeah. Nope. 2 years, 10 months younger. Mm-hmm. But, so I want to talk a little bit about what happened your freshman year. When you, air quotes here, snuck up on me.
Yeah, well.
Because I don't really remember it.
Yeah, I mean, we it was obvious that something was going on with you. We figured it was drugs. But whatever, you're my brother. I love you.
I love you too. Yeah.
And so we got off the bus and everything, and I was like walking with Shannon, and you had gone and you were talking to some dude, and over on the rail, you were like leaning on the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in front of class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all I did is I walked up behind you. I was walked up to you and like, "Hi, Jimmy, how you doing?" Pat you on the back, and you turn around and you cold cock me. And then the guy was like, "What the fuck did you just do that for? That's your sister," And I'm like holding my mouth, I'm bleeding,
Yeah.
because my tooth went into my lip, and
Mm.
I mean, he really nailed me, and I had just shot, and of course I started crying. I run to the bathroom. Shannon's like, "Come on in the bathroom," and she's like glaring at you, like, "What the,
What the fuck's wrong with you?
right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And cleaning me up, and then your excuse was I scared you.
Yeah.
I startled you. And
Which I don't know if that was true or not. I think I had something was making me mad, and I don't know. I vaguely remember this, and it. Yeah, apologies again. That's fucking yeah, right. Like Jesus Christ.
it was like, well,
Yeah, yeah. I'm probably gonna get beat up for this again, but whatever. But yeah. That I don't know. I don't really know why. Maybe you did scare me, but even then, like,
I think you were just angry.
yeah, I was
I
angry in
think you were
general.
just angry in
Yeah,
general,
yeah,
and you were self-medicating with the drugs,
yeah.
and
Still no excuse though, right? Like, still,
I know, but you've apologized, and
yeah,
it's all water under the bridge to me.
yeah,
You've been forgiven, and as we sit right now, we kind of have a much bigger and deeper understanding of where we were both
yeah,
at that time.
yeah,
You were refusing to face it at
yeah.
that time.
Oh yeah,
Um, I was in and out of facing it at the time.
yeah,
I kind of lost myself in things myself in high
yeah,
school. I I became a nerd and was
yeah,
studying, and that was just books were my life. And
yeah. In high school for me, my grades were like if I could keep a C average, I was doing good at that time because I wasn't.
you didn't care.
I couldn't it didn't matter because no matter what I did, how good I did, it wasn't ever good enough. If I got an A, I should have got an A plus,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
Or and every crime I did, even if it wasn't a crime, the same punishment was going to happen anyways,
yep.
right?
Like
So
putting the mayonnaise in the wrong drawer in the
yeah,
fridge,
yeah, yeah,
as opposed to getting caught with weed or something.
yeah.
It's
So
the
what
same.
the fuck difference did it make
Yep.
if you know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I want, and I don't, and I'm not gonna do what I don't want. I'll do the minimum of what I don't want to do. I'm still that way in a lot of ways too now. That's part of why what got me through the metal band. I wanted to do that. And even though I had full blown panic attacks almost the whole time I was fucking playing music, I still was stubborn and did it. Same with the tattooing and all that. Like this is what I want. And so it gave, in some ways, it was a good thing that I had that determination. But man, I was sure determined to just kill myself.
Well, that unfortunately is common. What you did and what I later did, was, you're not getting the abusive energies, and you're not being abused. That's what you're used to. It's what you deserve. It's how you were raised to feel. We're raised to feel that we're worthless pieces of shit, and all we fucking deserve is to be beaten and spit on and stomped down and stuff. And so you weren't getting that from dad anymore, so you started doing it to your fucking
Yeah,
self.
yeah, totally.
And I
Yeah.
know, like,
And then at the same, sorry, go ahead.
well, I said, I know after mom died and my house burnt down, that whole thing, I turned to drinking like hella heavy because I wanted to die.
Yeah,
And I didn't have the fucking huevos to fucking put a gun to my head, and I'd look at my kids and obviously like, oh, I can't fucking do it, but I wanted to die. And so I got drunk all the time. I was driving drunk. I was doing everything, and that's what I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's kind of where you were at that time.
oh yeah.
You
I didn't give a fuck.
you didn't give a fuck.
No.
And you
And
certainly didn't give a fuck about yourself.
no, and one of the things that the one of the things about methamphetamines for me was that it made me feel like a king. So at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, right? So at the same time, I was like flipping off the family and shit. Like I'd snort a line and I'd feel like a fucking king. I don't have any other way to describe it.
Yeah, well, I was 18 when I did my first line
Yeah.
of meth,
Yep.
and for the first time in my life, for the very first time in my life, I felt like I was worth something.
Yeah.
I felt like I could accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And holy shit, Jimmy, that feeling was euphoric.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And
Sign me up.
yeah, sign me up for all of that. So I did well, let's pause that part. And I want to talk for a minute cuz I want to talk about my second paradigm shift during the Upward Bound program.
Oh yeah, the
Upward Bound program, my first year, right? And this is where things started to change for me. Okay, so I've talked about it on this podcast before, so I'll go real quick, and then you can basically, we had something called the Fire of Truth, which is what this podcast is
Yeah.
named after, right? So if you don't know, the Upward Bound program is a local Cal Poly University here in Humboldt County. It was called Humboldt State University at the time. Had this 5-week summer program for low-income high school students to experience what college life was like, and they would go and scout out all the high schools in Humboldt, Del Norte, and Trinity counties, right?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Weaverville's in Trinity County, that area, and then Crescent City being Del Norte, and then Humboldt, right? So you and I got to be part of it, but I got to do it first. And this was the first time I ever wanted to do something. I was scared to ask Dad, and I was 17 at the time. I'd already been a regular methamphetamine user by then. Um, and so Dad, I asked Mom, you think he'd let me, blah, blah. She'd be like, I don't know. I think so. Maybe, you got to go ask him. And so I finally got up the nerve to go and ask him. And God damn it, he said yes. And I was like, no shit. Because it was a school thing,
Right.
right? He was all on board for anything scholastic, like nothing extracurricular,
No, I know.
but definitely scholastic. And we haven't even talked about the shit he didn't let us do because we don't need to. That's whatever. Fuck. That's a sore spot in my fucking stomach, sometimes even more than what he did do. But in any case, so first Fire of Truth year, first time I ever dropped acid. Yeah. So I dropped some acid, and then we go around this campfire, and everyone's sitting around the campfire. All these high school kids like me, you know, and one by one, everyone's telling their story of all this shit that they went through, that they're going through, not went through, but going through in their lives at home, back at home, blah, blah, blah. Turns out I'm not alone. And then it comes to be my turn, and the acid's kicking in a little bit, right? And my inhibitions are lowered, right? My guards are down. And this story that you're hearing now, it comes out, blah, just vomit, word vomit, blah, 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 like, oh, like all this. This is, everything that we're talking about now just comes out of me for the first time in my life. And this is why I think like there's definitely some, and I'm glad the laws are reflecting that the therapeutic value of psychedelics is being studied and used now, which is fucking awesome. And then when I thought I was going to be met with resistance and like quit being a pussy and all this shit, it was just people were crying, hugging me, and like I felt seen for the first time. I felt validated. I felt connected to everyone. I felt like I was safe and I was loved for who I really am. And that's what this is about. And that's when I started to talk about it more. But I had to go through the rest of my darkness because the methamphetamine turned on me.
Oh yeah, as it wants to do.
Did you have any similar experiences in Upward Bound?
Oh, I did.
What was your experience like there?
We had the Fire of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as therapeutic for me as it was for you because at that point in my life, I mean, it was. And, you know, to know that I'm not alone. It was kind of depressing in a way, though, for me, too, because just all the hurt that people go through.
Yeah.
Um, but I at that point, I've built up a wall,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and so breakthroughs were harder for me to do that point.
Yeah.
You know, I think I went to Upward Bound because you did.
Yeah.
And I wanted that freedom too. I didn't go there
Well,
for
we
the
went to
school
church.
for the school thing. I went
Oh.
there for
To get the fuck out.
to get the fuck out
Yeah,
for the
same.
summer, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And I mean,
We got to go to Bible camp many times and you and I memorized the 23rd Psalm, so
we could
we could
win.
go. Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but it was the same thing, you know, and I told a few things, but I didn't have that
That vomit
great
that I had.
unloading,
Yeah.
you know, because at that point I was already having anxiety and depression and little panic attacks and stuff. So I was already like starting to build my feeling wall.
I see.
you
Yeah, I
know?
hadn't had panic attacks yet until I quit all that. And then Caleb was born. And then as soon as we were going to move to San Diego, that's when all of that surfaced for me. It's my panic attacks and all of that. PTSD symptoms. Yeah. That got postponed because of the schizophrenia that I went through.